Going on YouTube, Cloverbell's here back with another Scarlet Violet video, and today we're going to be spotlighting the Hisuian Goodra. Again, another one of the new Pokemon that we're getting as of Regulation D thanks to Pokemon Home. So, Hisuian Goodra has been a very popular choice amongst early options to build around in, Regulation D, just because, Goodra was always a pretty popular Pokemon back in the day, but it struggled competitively just because, its stats were like, it's a very, very good special defense tank, and it still is with the Hisuian variant, but, the damage it would do was just not so great. And, the physical bulk also wasn't like too impressive. Now, a couple of those options do get alleviated with the Hisuian variant, right? First of all, we're sacrificing some of its speed now and putting it in defense. So now it has 100 base defense, which is actually really, really good instead of what I believe was 70 back then. And then we're taking the idea of like, okay, it's not going to be doing that much special attack damage, right? So 110, not like, it's not bad. It's just, not like super good. Okay, think of like, what's that that rune Pokemon? Think of like, oh Jesus, the name escapes me. Hold on, let me do like Treasures of Ruin Pokemon. What is that? Oh yeah, that's what I meant. The Tinglu. Yeah, sorry. It just escaped me for a brief moment. Think of like Tinglu, right? It's got like 110 attack. Like, it was okay. It just wasn't like super good unless it had like a choice band, right? But now the Goodra has a set that has allowed it to thrive in recent tournament play. And we're going to talk about that set as well as two other sets that people have tried and considered with mixed results. But by far the most successful one is this set right here, right? So it's going to have Heavy Slam, and you might say, well, why Heavy Slam over something like Flash Cannon, which is a special attack? The thing is, because the special attack isn't so great, and although it is great against Fluttermane, it doesn't pick up the KO because Fluttermane's special defense is very, very high. So the Flash Cannon, unfortunately, will not be able to pick up. So Heavy Slam will, though, right? Even though it's a weaker stat move, right? But at the end of the day, it's a physical move, and Fluttermane hates physical moves, and this is what allows it to pick up the KO, which is the important idea, right? Then from there, it gets another cool set, again, with like Shelter, and then this is it, Body Press, right? And this is the whole idea with Goodra. So now what you're saying is we're gonna sit behind our big special defense stat, okay? And then we're gonna boost our regular defense stat, with the Shelter setup, right? Or Acid Spray, depending on what you want to use. I feel like they're the same thing. And then from there, you're just going to get to +6, click Body Press, so this way you don't care about Intimidate spam, and then from there, you just sweep the floor, right? And that's the idea behind Hisuian Goodra and the way people have been using it. Now, in this last slot here, I believe you're either going to be running like Protect, or you're going to be running something like Life Dew. And Life Dew is really, really good on Goodra here, just because you're getting passive recovery every turn. So this way, you can alternate your Life Dews and your Shelters. And then eventually, you're going to be pretty much unbreakable. And then from there, you just go for the +6 body presses and just one-shot everything, right? Now, the only thing with this is that with this playstyle, you're a little bit more passive. And you have to, be relatively good in how you position the Goodra, because it just doesn't do any damage in the beginning until you start setting it up. But the problem with that is your opponent gonna let you set up? That's the thing. So from there, and then you just do like something like Leftovers here, right? Just like extra recovery. And then we'll show you like some common Pokemon that you can pair this with, right? And we'll look at some tour results where the Goodra has done well. But overall, like, again, like Steel Dragon typing is actually very, very good. Think Dialga, right? In competitive play, like especially in Sword and Shield Dynamax, Dialga was very, very good because the Steel Dragon typing helps you against, again, neutralizes the Fairy weakness. And again, with Steel being weak to Fire, the Dragon typing actually neutralizes that. And the same thing with the Ice weakness, with Dragon typing having, being weak to that. Now the Steel typing is able to neutralize that as well. So a lot of weaknesses now become neutral hits. Now you just have to remember that you are weak to ground types and you are weak to fighting types, right? So when I was initially using Goodra, I was initially testing stuff like this, where I wanted to put it behind screens like this with Grimmsnarl. And again, now I cover my fantasy court with, Dragon Fairy Steel. And then, by just setting up, light screens and reflects, by doing this, I'm able to just hide behind the screens, take minimal damage, and then just be able to set up my Shelter defenses, and then eventually recover over time, and then just keep clicking Body Press, right? And then from there, I really like these two homeboys. you know, with just Rillaboom and an Urshifu. You know, I feel like these are going to be two of the strongest, oh, not that one, the other one. These are going to be two of the strongest, you know, water grass options in the format, of course. And, you know, they just do relatively well together. Fake Out plus Surging Strikes is kind of hard sometimes to position against, depending on your team. But this was the core that I wanted to build around, right? And we'll show you how I was able to finish off this team later. But at the very least, what I wanted to do first is at least just cover like some other Goodra sets that I've seen that has had some mixed results in some tournaments. Just, you know, if you don't want to use this set, which I think you should, because I think this is like the best one in terms of like the results as of this moment. But you can definitely use some other sets. I've seen stuff like the physical set with Curse, which is again another setup set. But at least now you're going to take advantage of your physical bulk. And again, still hiding behind your special defense, you know, stat already. So if you just go for Curse, again, you're going to drop your speed, you're going to increase your attack, you're going to increase your defense. And now all of a sudden, you actually become pretty good in Trick Room because you're constantly dropping your speed. And then you just become a Trick Room sweeper. So the turn that they go for Trick Room, you can just click Curse, okay? And now it just helps you, right? So you can do this route, and then you can just go with stuff like Iron Head, which is great against Flutter Mane, might I add. That's always really, really good. Then from there, you can do something like Ice Spinner, right? A good ice coverage there. This is to like remove terrain. Really good against the Genies. You know, good against grass types like Amoonguss, for example. And then Amoonguss can't touch you, by the way, you know, because you have Sap Sipper over here. So that's also really, really nice. And then just any other physical move that you can come up with. You can just go with your stab move like Dragon Claw if you want. Or if you can find another physical move like here, you can do something like Fire Punch, right? If you want to do that. It does get Fire Punch, right? So you can do that. You can do Thunder Punch, which is also really, really good. Great against, you know, the Water Urshifus, the Iron Bundles, the Gyarados that you might find. So also really, really good there if you want to go that route. But again, really up to you. But I feel like the first two are definitely necessary. Or you can just even just click Protect here, right? If you want to go that route. But again, the idea is you're just chilling behind this set here. And then you're just dealing physical damage. And I saw like a couple teams, you know, doing this kind of set. I mean, they did okay, all right? And then this one is the less common of the three, but still relatively okay. You can still use this Goodra as like a special attacker now. So now you're just relying on the Assault Vest, not really caring about your physical defense anymore, you know, unlike these two options. And then again, just going with like a straight special attacking set like Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, Flamethrower, and then this one is probably something like Draco Meteor, for example, or like some other coverage move, maybe like Muddy Water if you don't really like Draco Meteor. But like again, you know, even with the modest set, like this special attack damage just it's not like super good. Like you almost have to like max it like this, just to try to get any kind of like decent damage out of your Goodra, and then just put on your bulk like this, and then that's it. Like this is actually one of the few times where like I will say, you know, the 252 set is okay, because like Goodra kind of needs all that special attack to even do like anything remotely close to like acceptable damage for, you know, a special sweeper in that regard, right? So I feel like these are, you know, the three common ways to use this. By the way, another item that I've seen on Goodra is something like Shuka Berry, you know, just because, you know, it helps mitigate some of that, you know, ground weakness a little bit, like the Landorus matchup. So, you know, in that sense, you have to be aware of that. So then from here, you know, when you're just using Goodra, a couple things you want to be aware of is like, all right, I need something against ground types, okay? You know, potentially like Landorus, for example, I got to have a matchup there, which is why we had the Urshifu on the team. And then I need something for like to just resist fighting damage or general, or just something that's good against fighting types, you know, hence something why like, you know, I wanted a flying type on the team. So basically you need something for Urshifu, because Urshifu, along with maybe the occasional Sacred Sword from the Qianpao or like Sneasler, just going to be clicking these fighting moves, right? So you need something for those as well. But at the very least, you know, this is what we're rocking with, right? Okay, so now what we're going to do is just show you some tournament teams that have utilized Goodra to its fullest. And then we'll finish off rounding out that team I proposed earlier with those four. Okay, so let's take a look at the tour. Okay, so let's start here from the Nino Pokebros tour. And again, this is a tournament from a few days back, actually a week ago. This was a big tournament. This was a 159-person tournament. And if we just take a look at some of the top Goodra teams here. Here's one already in 6th place, you know, top 8 result. This one, featured the Sneasler Rillaboom combo, which we're going to do a video on later on. But again, here it is. Leftovers, Shell Armor. So Shell Armor as opposed to, you know, Sap Sipper. That's also fine. But again, very standard set here with Shelter, Body Press, Heavy Sand, Protect. So, you know, again, it's that Body Press set. And there's the Rillaboom over here. And then, again, just have another aggressive option like Sneasler. Just have like a fast mode to this team. Because what this person is saying is, I'm going to go slow and bulky with Cresselia and Glacier and then throw in the Goodra at the same time. But, you know, just having the Rillaboom isn't enough sometimes, so I want to have at least a little bit of a fast mode with the Sneasler and the Spectre, might add. Double Horse, which is very, very interesting, right? But again, Snarl support, really, really nice, able to reduce special attack damage, so this way the Goodra can just raise its defenses. The Spectre is clicking Snarl. You know, I would have just went with something like Arcanine, to be honest, but like, okay, sure, this works. All right, so that's one result there. Was there another one down here that I think I saw? At least with like 6 or 5 and 3. Here's another one, right? From Olsen. So Olsen is saying, again, so he's going the Acid Armor move instead of the Shelter. But again, same exact set. He's going with Terra Flying this time, which is, again, great against the ground moves. So, you know, good Terra option there. And then he's saying, okay, I already have a good special defense stat. Let me reduce any kind of physical damage by not only clicking Acid Armor, but also relying on the Wo-Chien. With also Snarl. So again, a similar concept that we just saw, where we're just reducing damage overall. Then let's add Landorus Intimidate and really make this, you know, very, very much damage reduction. And then we'll go double Genie in that sense. We'll go Sunny Day on the Tornadus. So this way, you know, Fluttermane and Chiyu, we have a fast mode here that can do a lot of special attack damage. So this way, we're not like completely passive, you know, with the Hisuian Goodra and the Wo-Chien. So this is a cool idea. So shoutouts to Olsen, you know, 5 and 3 is pretty good. Then if we scroll down there, was there another one that I saw? Oh yeah, here's another one from Blaze Kick. So this one is going with the Trick Room variant, you know, while also mixed with a hyper offensive idea. But again, Cresselia comes in here. Again, Sunny Day, another common thing, where you're just enabling the Fluttermane and or the Torkoal. You know, well, you don't really need Sunny Day for Torkoal, but you know what I mean. Then from here, you know, you just have the Hisuian Lilligant and Torkoal, you know, just this combo. We already know what this does. But again, another Terra Flying, you know, with leftovers. This is also Shell Armor, you know, Shelter, Body Press, Heavy Slam, Life Dew. So there's the recovery move that we were talking about earlier. But again, you still see like this Dragon Fairy Steel combination. And then, you know, a Grass type, a Fire type. And do we have Terra Water anywhere? No, we do not, but that's okay. Okay, so then if we moved into another tournament, if we go to the return of the Beanie Brawl Tour, let's take a look and spotlight Pengi's team. Pengi, you know, regional champion, former guest on the channel. Hopefully we can get him back here at some point. But what Pengi is saying is, I'm going to completely support the Goodra, you know, entirely, and just mitigate all kinds of damage by having the most amount of support you can think of possible, right? I've got Intimidate support with the Gyarados. I have Tinglu for special attack damage reduction. I have Grimmsnarl for screen supports, right? And then I also have Redirection with the Amoonguss, right? And then at the same time, I also have, you know, Trick Room. So this way, potentially my Goodra can go first, you know, against those hyper offensive teams. What a squad, right? This is completely built around Goodra. You look at it, it's like, how does this deal any damage, right? But actually, it does quite a bit of damage, right? Because you're dealing all kinds of chip damage all around, and then while you're mitigating all that damage, the Goodra and the Cresselia, might I add, is also setting up. So it's really smart here to go with Life Dew and Leftovers, and then at the same time, you know, you have Lunar Blessing and Calm Mind. So now this is like potentially sweeping with Cresselia and Hisuian Goodra behind all of the support from the Amoonguss, Gyarados, Tinglu, and Grimmsnarl, right? So you could just click Life Dew and Lunar Blessing, you know, if they're both on the field at the same time, heal each other up, right? And then, you know, just keep clicking like, you know, Shelter and or Calm Mind, set up either of them, and then from there, just sweep with the other one, right? I feel like that's really what's going on over here. And then you can't spore the Cresselia because of safety goggles. And at the same time, you can't even crit the Goodra over here with Shell Armor, which is actually really, really nice. So, you know, just really all depends on how you want to play your Hisuian Goodra. But, you know, on the team like this, you don't need a fast mode, right? You just completely, you know, rely on reducing damage, redirecting damage, and just using your long endgame with setup. I wonder how long it took with some of these games for Pengi, right? I want to know if any of them went to timer, right? That's what I want to know. But really smart idea. I highly recommend something like this. It's super good. But yeah, so shout outs to Pengi for using a squad like this. Okay, then if we take a look at this tournament, another Regulation D tournament. This one was about an 50 plus person tournament, so that was pretty cool. And Goodra was actually on the winning team, okay, which is actually really nice. And it also has Zapdos, which I like a lot. We're gonna do a video on Zapdos soon. But basically, he's got the key four here, with Goodra, Grimmsnarl, Rillaboom, and Urshifu, just like us, okay. And then he's saying, I'm going to use the Zapdos as that option that you were looking for, Clover. I got a flying type to be able to resist, fighting damage. I've got a flying type for that ground pivot that I need, because Goodra is weak to that ground pivot, okay? And then at the same time, I've got an Ursaluna that can also do well, in the end game, especially if my opponent wants to go the Trick Room route, potentially, right? And I've got the screens here. I've got speed control with Thunder Wave here with the Grimmsnarl, okay? And that's really all you want out of your Grimmsnarl, just to set up screens, make your overall team bulky. Rocky Helmet Static is really nice on Zapdos, so I like this a lot. The Zapdos option is pretty cool. And then, of course, the Ursaluna over here, just with Substitute also is actually really strong. And it's no wonder that this person went 9-0. It's actually a really cool team. I like this a lot. And it especially fits the way I wanted to play, the Hisuian Goodra as well. So shout outs to the Seattle VGC for coming up with something like this. Then if we keep going down, is there another one down here? I feel like I saw another one. No, there wasn't. Let's go here to the Oko Club Regulation D Tour. There's another Hisuian set. So this one, 4 and 3, third place. There's also one here, also in 7th place. But let's take a look at this one. And so what this one is saying, so this is the Curse set. So this one decided to utilize Curse. Again, Ice Spinner, Iron Head, Dragon Claw is a good, you can also go with another, coverage route besides the Dragon option. But now we have an offensive, kind of team here with Tornadus and Bascule Legion, Swift Swim Bascule Legion. Then the Moltres comes here. I like Moltres here. Again, kind of like the Zapdos idea where you just have that flying option and then having something that's super effective against those fighting types, just in general. So that's also really nice. And then here's the Rapid Strike Urshifu. Again, does really well, in the rain. That's why you have Tornadus Rain over here. And then Rillaboom, very standard here. A fake out option, and then something that also enjoys the rain. So this is another way to consider Goodra. But there's a couple other tournament teams that I want to show. This one is from Mythos. So similar idea again, piggybacking off of Lisiado's idea, as well as the way I like to play it as well, just a little bit. But here's the Grimmsnarl, here's a flying type, and then over here we have the Rillaboom. And not only do we have an Arcanine, but we have the Iron Bundle. I know it's not in English here, but we have the spread in English. The Pokepaste here. So basically, it's Grassy Seed Zapdos with Rillaboom. That's pretty cool. And this is a Parting Shot Grimmsnarl rather than a Thunder Wave Grimmsnarl. And here's the Arcanine going for Howl. Makes a lot of sense. You have, Grimmsnarl and Rillaboom. You can make the Rillaboom do a lot of damage now. And then you're just hiding behind Bulk, with the screens. And then again, Zapdos here just going for passive recovery, with Roost, and then just potentially just thunderbolting you to death over time, right? So really nice idea there. Then we go into another team that was used in the Cobalt Tour. This was a Japanese team, so still again you see some similar ideas, but this one was I believe 10th place in that tour. But again, Regieleki Urshifu is something that is common that people forget about. That was also very strong in Sword and Shield. And then over here, this is the Shukaberry Goodra, which with some special attacking moves, right? Dragon Pulse, Muddy Water, Flash Cannon, right? So you can use an offensive Goodra, right? And then here's the Rillaboom and Urshifu like we like. And then here's an Ursaluna, kind of like Lisiado's back end. Double ground actually, right? With the Landorus idea over here. So, but here's that flying type that you want to pivot out of a ground move, and then also able to resist a fighting type attack. So again, similar ideas with all of these teams, right? It just all depends on how you guys want to use your Hisuian Goodra, right? Either you just put it behind screens, you set it up, but you got to have some kind of damage mitigation. Otherwise, the Goodra's not going to have a chance to set up, right? That's my one key that you got to have if you want to be able to use Hisuian Goodra, all right? So now that we've have, some decent amount of tournament data, we're going to take it all in and then finish off the squad that we showed you earlier that I had initially started with. So let's go back into Showdown. Okay, so now we're back here, and again, we're just gonna keep this set, and we'll go Terra Flying here, so this way we have at least some kind of out against, you know, potential ground types. I do like Life Dew, especially. I think Life Dew makes a lot of sense here. Grimmsnarl, very standard here. We're gonna go Spirit Break, of course, Light Screen, Reflect, and I like Thunder Wave here. I think Thunder Wave is actually really, really good. Just overall, just a really, really good speed control move that you can use for a lot of different reasons. You can even just do like Parting Shot if you really like Parting Shot as well. But I like Thunder Wave, just, you know, just having an out against a lot of those hyper offensive teams, especially with like the chance to para, is really, really good. Okay, but I also like, you know, Light Clay over here, and then Rillaboom, of course, with the Assault Vest set, you know, with the Grassy Surge, you know, Terrifier, of course, so this way we don't potentially get burned. Fake Out, you know, Wood Hammer, U-turn, but the three standard moves here, and then all, you know, this last coverage move, up to you. You can have Knockoff here. I've seen, you know, Stomping Tantrum here as well, you know, just to have like another ground coverage move. You know, you can even go this route, but because we're gonna have a ground type on the team, we're not gonna need it, but I do like Knockoff for sure. Then the Urshifu, I like Focus Sash here, you know, just because, you know, it gives you at least one more turn to click stuff. Surging Strikes, of course. Close Combat, Aqua Jet, Wait, this is the other one. Oops, I keep doing that. Urshifu, Rapid Strike. There we go. Surging Strikes, Close Combat, Aqua Jet, Protect. You know, really good against your Fire type options. Just good at breaking things overall. And comboed well with Rillaboom because, you, again, if you're going for Fake Out and you want to protect against the Fake Out, you can't, because Urshifu is just going to punch right through, you know? So I feel like this is always like a really, really good standard core that you can start out with. And then, like I said, you can go with like a flying type option like Lisiado was going with. You can go with Zapdos, I feel like is okay. You can go with like a Landorus that wants to pivot. But in this case, because you're with the same team as Rillaboom, your grassy terrain is weakening your Earthquake. So then you can just do something like this with Stomping Tantrum, then U-turn, another pivot move, just like Rillaboom over here. You know, constantly pivoting your Intimidate cycling. And then over here, you could do something like Terra Blast, Terra Flying, or you can just keep it as a pivoter and just go with like Rock Slide. And then, you know, even like Rock Tomb actually has like some merit over here, right? So you can even just do like a Choice Scarf set. You could do a potential like Rocky Helmet set, which I've seen some older Landorus's use. I feel like Rocky Helmet Landorus is also relatively standard. And then in your last slot here, you can do something like Cress, you know, where you can set up said Trick Room. You know, you can do like Cresselia Landorus, set up Trick Room potentially, or just like get Intimidate options in general, and then just pivot right out and then just go into like either the Goodra or Rillaboom Urshifu, for example. You could do something like this, or you can just say, you know what, I don't need the Intimidate, and I'm just gonna go with a stronger Trick Room mode in general, just besides the Goodra, and just go with Ursaluna here. And again, your pivoter will still be Rillaboom, of course, but if you really like Landorus as the Intimidate option, I really highly recommend it. I just think you might want to go a little bit of a different direction if you're going to use the Landorus on a build like this, but hey, at the very least, make it easy for yourself. Use the Ursaluna, combo it with Cresselia. Cresselia looks really good here with the Goodra as well, and it's kind of, you know, the duo that I really, really wanted to use, also behind Grimmsnarl screens. And this way you still have like good offense with Rillaboom, Urshifu, and Ursaluna, right? So at the very least, you have something, right? And again, you have pivot moves. Again, not pivot moves. You have speed controller with Thunder Wave. You're gonna have Trick Room here, of course. So you might as well just put that there. Okay, and then you have potential setup with the Goodra, right? And of course the Grimmsnarl screen. So it's a pretty decent way to try and utilize this. But again, with Lunar Blessing, I feel like is very, very important. Then over here, just Moonblast. I actually like Moonblast, Cresselia, and as well as Psychic. I feel like, you know, these are two like good, strong moves that you can have. Of course, Terra Fairy is also really, really nice. But that being said, if you don't want one or two of these moves, right, you can just pretty much just take out one of them. If you don't like Moonblast, if you just like Psychic, I still recommend you have like something like Icy Wind. Like just another speed control move is actually really, really nice. So this way you get like Thunder Wave, you know, you get Icy Wind and Trick Room, for example. I feel like that makes a lot of sense. Other than that, you could do something like, again, Cresselia wants like 50,000 moves. Really just depends on how you want to play it. You could even do like Grass Knot here, you know, potentially for like an opposing Ursaluna, for example, or you can just really rely on your own Urshifu. What else? What else do we have here? I feel like there was another one that I missed. You could do Safeguard to protect against like Amoonguss shenanigans or burn stuff. You know, that's always an option. But other than that, it really just depends on what you want to do. Even like as simple as Helping Hand is also really good. So let's put Psychic here. Oh, now I just messed up everything. So Psychic, Lunar Blessing, Trick Room. You can even just put like Helping Hand here. Rage. I'll leave it there. You know, that fourth move is really up for grabs. I like Safety Goggles here. You know, I think it's okay. And then the Ursaluna, of course, the Flame Orb Gut set, very, very standard here. With, of course, Headlong Rush, Facade, there we go, Facade, protecting your last slot. And then you can have Crunch here for coverage. But if you want like another kind of coverage move, you get a whole plethora of stuff here. You could even do like bulk up Ursaluna, you know, as well as like, you know, relying with Cresselia and Goodra over here. But like, I feel like you can just go with some other move here. Fire Punch is also pretty good. Does this thing get Thunder Punch? Oh my god, this thing gets Thunder Punch? Yeah, we're rolling that. Thunder Punch is really good. Or if you really want to punish more Amoonguses besides just using Psychic, you know, just even something like Fire Punch is also really, really good. Just so that you get fire coverage on the team, right? Because you got grass, you got water coverage. You know, you don't really have fire coverage. So I think Fire Punch is also really, really nice. So go figure there. Terra Normal, pretty good. A little bit more extra facade damage, but yeah. And then this one just like straight Terra. Well, you can even go like Terra Grass here if you want, just to like get around the Amoonguss, because remember, a lot of Amoonguses are now using like Rocky Helmet sets, and then just punishing your Urshifu and getting your Sash broken is just not fun. So sometimes you might have to just go Terra Grass and ignore it. We already got Terra Fire here. Terra Poison is pretty good here. On the Grimmsnarl, you know, just for the flutter main stuff. And we already mentioned like Terra Flying over here. So I like this a lot. You know, again, like these four homies are pretty good. Then you just add a Trick Room mode here with Crest Ursaluna. And Goodra also likes the Trick Room mode as well. But Life Dew and Lunar Blessing are really good. I took out Trick Room here. So this is how I propose to like build it. But again, if you want like another flying type option, like we mentioned, the Zapdos is good. The Moltres is good. I feel like those are really standard. You know, if you want to just remove the crest and just add the Zapdos like Lisiado was doing, then yeah, I think that's also really good. But yeah, now what we're gonna do is we'll just wrap it up here with like some basic EV spreads and get you guys out of here. Okay, we're just gonna give like some basic EVs here to a lot of these Pokemon, just for like certain benchmarks and, you know, just hitting the jumps in our EV spreads here, you know, just to like get something going, you know, just you know, something to test with originally and then adjust as you go. But at the very least with this Goodra set here, we're just gonna go 1 point in the speed. That's really all you need in your Goodra. You're not trying to be like super fast. Impus Nature, you know, of course, getting the defense boost. You know, so this way you have harder hitting body presses, and then just like going right here, you know, just to like the jump. So from 163 to 165, just go right here, and then pretty much max out your HP like this. Not completely optimal for leftover recovery, but it's still okay. You still want max HP just because 80 HP isn't all that great. And you can just put the rest here in like special defense here. And actually you can just take away the speed here and just put another one right here in special defense. And this is a very general body press, shelter, heavy slam Goodra set along with the life dew. So yeah, give that one a go. I want to just go to the Urshifu real quick and just make it a 252 set, because, you know, you are focused sash. Nothing else you really need out of that in that sense. By the way, actually what I want to do, because I'm also on the same team as Rillaboom, I want to make this to 176 just because that's a little bit more optimal for your grassy terrain recovery, because you're going to get a perfect 11 HP recovery, you know, from the grassy terrain recovery. Whereas if I did this, I'm undercutting it by 10.9, which rounds down to 10. So I'm actually getting one less HP recovery. So I want to, you know, make sure I get the most optimal recovery by at least going with this route. Okay. Grimmsnarl, again, just having like this nature where, again, plus special defense, reducing special attack damage, which is the careful set. And again, 1 point in the speed. That's really all you really want out of your Grimmsnarl. Maybe even like 2 points if anything. But once again, just hitting the benchmark here with the special defense set. You can even just go right here, pretty much almost max the HP, 1 point in the attack, right? And then just dump the rest into defense like this. And this is a very standard, you know, Grimmsnarl screen set. Again, extra special defense for, you know, those special attackers. Rillaboom. So I like to do this with my Rillaboom, especially like an old Sword and Shield set. I like to go right here at Adamant 196, I believe. Yep, Adamant 196. Again, hitting the benchmark here, going to 192 HP, which will again be optimal for the grassy terrain recovery. And then you have 180 EVs left to play with. I like to go here just to about 113, 114, just to potentially outspeed, you know, stuff like Garchomp, for example, after like a -1 drop, for example. But if you don't really care about it, because, you know, you're not really having Icy Wind over here, you just have Helping Hand. But if you had Icy Wind, you can definitely go that route. But, you know, if you don't really care about that, you can just drop this back down to 60. This is at least faster than 112, which is what you need to outspeed based on hundreds. After +1, you can outspeed those 112 bonds. But from there, you know, you can just have it right here in special defense, and then just dump the rest in physical defense like this, right? I actually just added one more speed there, so this way it looks a little bit more evened out. I wanted an even number here. That's why I went to 60, which is just like another good even number to have with the Assault Vest. So this way, after 1.5, the boost, that you still have a whole number as opposed to a decimal, which would have rounded it down, and then a little bit leftovers in defense like this. All right. No, there are some Grimmsnarl calcs here. You know, if you really want to know them, you can just message me. But, you know, Grimmsnarl throws off a lot of different calcs, which is why I like it. Of course, you know, it's one of our main options, you know, on the channel. We've used it a lot, especially, you know, as prior to Flutter main stuff, for sure. The Crest set, so, you know, just depending on some of you guys, I like Modest, right? But some of you guys are crying about like, oh, you didn't use extra 3 EVs for that. You know, okay, sure. So we'll satisfy those people by just going with something that is quote unquote slightly more optimal than what I've given in the past. But the main thing here is what I was going for was this. You can just have a little bit more EVs here. You can just put 20 EVs here and still achieve the same stat that I was going for in some of my other videos, which is I just wanted to survive Modest Shadow Ball from the Flutter main, 116, you know, choice specs. I'm still going to go with the same HP number. I think 223 is always very optimal, especially back then, you know, I was running a Mental Herb set, which is, again, just to optimize against Tyranitar stuff. So you can do that in that regard. And then from there, still go with the same special attack investment that I was doing, which is, I believe, this. Just really, really good damage against like opposing Amoonguss, and then just dump the rest in defense like this. All right, this is the same spread that I was using in some of my other stuff, but just a little bit more optimized in the Calm set, just because it still gets me the damage calc that I want, right? So, and now I get a little bit more extra EVs in the defense. Okay, hope you're happy. All right, the Ursa Luna set. Okay, so basically, I just wanted to optimize for the burn chip damage, so I had a little bit more bulk. Then from here, again, 156 was my calc, and then I just wanted 132 defense, special defense. This is for the Hydro Pump from the Iron Bundle, and then from here, just a little bit more points here in the defense stat. You know, still relatively strong. And then the extra 16 EVs, you know, I just put them here in attack because, you know, they were just left over. So go figure. Okay. Then from here, I believe this is it. I think we have everything that we need in terms of like a very general, you know, Hisuian Goodra starting Poke Paste that you can use. So yeah, if you have some ideas of Hisuian Goodra yourself, you know, feel free to share it in the comments below. But again, I just really wanted to put the Goodra behind screens and, you know, partner it with the Rillaboom and the Urshifu. All right, deal a bunch of damage. I mentioned what you could do in these other 2 slots. Another flying type, something like Zapdos or Moltres, and then something, you know, for the Trick Room setup, a little bit more healing. You could do the Cresselia slot, which is actually what we have here. I decided to, you know, whatever, forget the flying slot, and then just go for a little bit more stronger of a Trick Room mode with the Ursa Luna. So this way, you know, the Goodra has something to another partner in crime that it can use. But very, very physical team. You know, if you're scared of the Intimidate stuff, again, just put Zapdos here. I feel like Zapdos is really, really good with Hisuian Goodra, and you saw it on a couple teams already. But I didn't feel the need to make those squads because you can already pick those up yourself. I just wanted to add, you know, a potential trick mode here with the Cresselia, of course, you know, just healing the Goodra and everything else along with the Ursa Luna, right? So that's going to be it for now. But again, if you're interested in team building for Regulation D, a lot of you have already signed up on the channel. And if it's something you're interested in, again, we have a link in the comment section below. We have a link in the video description where you can join the channel with the tier 3 sub and sign up for team building. You can message me on Discord once you have, and then from there we can coordinate our one-on-one call and build the squad that you need for Regulation D to get things going. All right, but we'll be back with another video in the next one, guys. Peace out. Have a good one.